This is the Khmer Times News. My name is Paolo Bonini, and these are your headlines. Child trafficking syndicate from the Philippines is under investigation. An expat goes missing and is then found dead. And a woman is back in the news for the third year in a row because she ain't ever gonna give up. And I'll explain all about her incredible story later on. But firstly, it is our headline story, and it's all about surrogate mothers. Despite a ban on surrogacy in Cambodia, a Filipino agency has been found to be bringing women into the country to be artificially impregnated, to provide babies for an infant trafficking syndicate. Now, those three words, infant trafficking syndicate, are as dark and as menacing as they sound. So far, 20 Filipino women have been arrested, and they have confirmed that their pregnancies were arranged by an agency in the Philippines that had contacts with a fertilization expert in Thailand that then sent the women to Cambodia with the ultimate goal of trafficking babies. Now, let me explain this. The Filipino women are desperately poor, or they have been tricked into it. They are then sent to Thailand to be artificially impregnated, but due to severe laws there, these women are then moved to Cambodia, where the criminals feel it is safer to complete the cycle by marketing and selling the babies. So, how did we get to this? Well, back in 2016, AFP reported that Cambodia had become a centre for baby trafficking. You see, other prime nations involved in the trade, like Thailand and India, had not only banned such activities, but made the laws very severe. And that created a boom in Cambodia. Thailand and India even went as far as blocking foreigners from adoption services, following a wave of scandals and concerns about child exploitation. So it was nearby Cambodia that quickly absorbed much of that demand. It's usually like this. The women were told there's work in Thailand and Cambodia, involving computer work or tourism work. But when they get there, they're suddenly given another job. And one of those jobs could well have been to have a child that they never ever wanted. And that is often how baby trafficking begins. A child is born unwanted and is handed to criminals who see the baby as nothing more than a commodity. And it is sold on the black market to God only knows who. And nobody knows as to where it goes. The babies simply disappear. It really is a truly tragic tale, as it leaves so many questions unanswered. And in that silent void that remains, the imagination takes hold, and those thoughts that appear are exceedingly dark indeed. As what could be more ominous than unregistered children being sold for cash? In this week's Crime Desk, a woman whose only crime is not getting a high enough score. An expat goes missing in mysterious circumstances and is then found dead. And drug use, it really is on the rise. This is, without doubt, the story that I have been following for longer than any other. It has been going on for years and is still to the point of no resolution. Now, you may think that it involves the never-ending scourge of drugs, or maybe it's all about money laundering. Well, no. It is all about this woman. A woman I very much admire, as she is a lady who absolutely, definitely refuses to give up, no matter what. You see, she has just taken her high school exams yet again. And as some keen-eyed viewers may have noticed, she certainly ain't no schoolgirl. She is, in fact, 58. And she's been taking the secondary school final exams year after year after year. And with the regularity of a Swiss watch, she keeps on failing. Here she is back in 2022 making headlines. Cambodia's oldest exam candidate vows to try again after failing 2022 exam. Now, back then, she said, people laugh and they mock me. But she also said that her maths and her English were a bit rubbish. But she would try again in 2023, and that's what she did. And again, she made national headlines, but now she was 56, and still rubbish at maths and English, but sitting the exams yet again. So in November of 2023, the exam results were announced, and yet again she made the headlines. But was she successful? Well, here is a clue. The headline started with the word misery, which I think gives you a solid indicator as to how her 2023 results panned out. The headline read exactly, misery for Cambodia's oldest high school diploma candidate as she fails again. Oh dear. Now, I remember all these stories going back over the years, so imagine my utter elation when I saw this headline. 58-year-old aims for third time lucky in exams. Holy mother of God, she's back. And I thought, this is epic. And it's not just me, as the Prime Minister Hun Sen back in 2022 gave her 10 million real to help her, and that's great. You see, you may well be thinking by my tone that I am laughing at this lady, as others have done, but you would be wrong. Remember at the start of this story, I said I very much admire her, and it's not just for her tenacity, which I really, really love, but it's also that this lady has a dream. You see, what you do not know is she wants to be a teacher. Yes, this lady has been struggling for year after year after year academically, but she has a single wish. She wishes to help others that struggle with learning. And that, I assure you, leaves me deeply moved. And I even get a lump in my throat thinking about it. She ain't no failure, this lady. She is an inspiration to us all. Now to much more serious matters. And this is a story that I know that you will be familiar to, as you probably saw this on your Facebook feed over the recent weeks. And these posts on social media then produced headline stories like this. Search on for South African woman missing in Phnom Penh after dinner date. Everyone was trying to locate a young woman teacher who had gone missing in Phnom Penh on September the 29th. The case initially had very dark undertones, as it was reported that she had gone missing after a dinner date with a man known only as Jack. As to who this mysterious Jack was not known, and of course the inference was maybe there was a killer on the loose. And it was said she was last seen after going on a dinner date with that mysterious man. She went for a meal, but she never ever returned home. And more worryingly, her phone had been deliberately turned off. But as the week rolled by, the fog of mystery cleared, and it turned out there was in fact a Jack, and it was her latest boyfriend, although only of 2 weeks. And the missing lady was in fact dead. The South African woman had died from a heart attack due to illegal drugs, more than likely a stimulant such as methamphetamine. But her ending was particularly gruesome, as it is quoted by her family that she died in a swimming pool, and that is really nasty. Having a cardiac arrest in a swimming pool that causes you to drown. You are conscious, you know you are drowning, but there's absolutely nothing you can do. That really is frightening. But more tragically, it is just another statistic, as hundreds of thousands of people die of meth abuse every year. So maybe this lady's death will be a warning. If you want to dance with the Reaper, well, guess what? You may just pay for that dance with your very life. Now, let us link that young South African's death due to illegal drugs with a wider look as to how bad the ongoing drug culture is within the kingdom. Well, the news is not good. It's not even bad. It's terrible. As Cambodia has seen a remarkable increase in both the number of people arrested and the amount of narcotics that has been seized in the first 9 months of this year, according to the anti-drug department. And the numbers are really shocking, as authorities detained 19,500 drug-related suspects during just 7 months. And that number is up over 33%. A total of 6.1 tonnes of illicit drugs was confiscated. And that is up a whopping 127% from the same period as last year. Most of the seized drugs were the usual suspects. Right up there, of course, was crystal methamphetamine and methamphetamine tablets. Now, keep in mind, in Cambodia, if you are caught with just 80 grams of illicit drugs, you could be imprisoned for life. So the risk you run is not just utterly ruining your life, but you could well end up in an Asian prison serving a life sentence. Let me make this clear. Methamphetamine is a fool's game. Drug and alcohol abuse kills 3 million people every single year. But that is not the real toll. I myself was once a screaming alcoholic, drinking well over a litre of vodka every single day. And I'm telling you, if you become an addict like I was, you start to envy dead people, as they don't feel the agonizing pain of living the hopeless, miserable life of an addict. So, take it from me, don't do drugs and watch your drink. Being an addict is a life of utter despair. And you really do not want to go there. Okay, this is a good one, this one to finish. I will lie in this story for the first time ever, so let's see if you can spot the lie before I announce it. Here we go. So let's finish with something lighter, and that is the internet. And the kingdom is quite simply hooked on the web. So much so, there are more internet users than there are people. You go figure that one out. You see, here in Cambodia, there is 16.5 million people. So it comes as quite the surprise that there is 22 million mobile phone subscribers. Crikey. Remember, that's only internet users on mobile phones and does not include hardwire connections. Now, these numbers, of course, reflect the trend of having more than one phone. I myself have two. The high number also correlates very clearly with people using their phones to pay for bills with things like QR codes. And the rise of the internet beast is staggering. Back in 2020, there were less than 4 million phones connected to the web. In just a few short years, an additional 16.5 million connections were made. Now that is a whole load of data flowing through the air. But have you asked yourself, where does all that data come from? Ask some people and they will point skyward. But no, it is all supplied by undersea cables. Every single last megabyte. Like this cable that links Hong Kong with Cambodia, and it cost $165 million. And there are many more. Internet cables just like this. They are built to survive the rigors of the sea and tempestuous storms. Did you spot it? Did you? I put up this picture and said internet cable. I was lying, as that cable is a fast-speed data cable that stretches along the seabed just like an internet cable, but that particular cable I showed you was laid by a ship like this. And that ship sailed the sea many hundreds of years ago. You see, we think we are all so very smart, but as is usual, the jolly old Victorians got there first, all the way back in 1858. And you will never guess what the first ever transatlantic message was. Well, it was Queen Victoria congratulating President James Buchanan on the very cable she was using to communicate with him. So the UK and the USA laid a cable between them that was 2,500 miles long. And Queen Victoria sent the first message, saying something like, "Oh, hello, and congratulations on the exceedingly long cable. Isn't it impressive? Thanks awfully. Goodbye." And after the Queen had finished stating the bleeding obvious, only another 730 messages were sent, as 3 weeks later, that cable that was 2,500 miles long, it burnt out and it died. But it was a success, as it showed that it could be done. So next time you're on the internet, tip your hat to those plucky Victorians, for it is they that started the world's first ever web. It's time to have a look ahead and see what the weather has in store for us next week.
And here we are at the final page of the show. And as always, I like to show you a photo of what I've been doing this week. And this week, I've been Christmas shopping. In fact, I actually start in February for the next year. I love Christmas so much. And what I've got there is a couple of Christmas stockings and some snowman thing. And I've got 2 Christmas stockings, one for me and one for my hamster, Wilbert. Here is Wilbert. He's fab. I love Wilbert to bits. But Wilbert, get off the screen, you handsome sausage, because it's the weather time. And what we can see right across the board is rain. And we've got a much more denser population of thunderstorms as well. It's going to rain on and off throughout the whole week. But what's that temperature going to be? Well, it's only dropped to 33 degrees. So it ain't going to be cold.
This has been the Khmer Times News. Please do subscribe and comment and stay up to date with all the breaking news by following us on both Facebook and Telegram. This has been Paolo Bonini, and that was the week that was. I'll see you next weekend for your weekly roundup.